Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, and for those of you who are here for the first time, my name is Catherine and I tell true stories. Put yourself in this situation. You travel to an Arab country. You are going to work as a housemaid, as most of them do from Africa and some other countries in Asia. You arrive and you are put in a very smelly room. You look around, the mattress you're gonna use is bloody. Well, you assume probably the one who was here was a very untidy person and couldn't clean her period or something. But when you look deeper, this blood goes up to the floor. When you check under the floor, you see somebody's shoes and you wonder, who was this? Who must have left in a hurry that she could not pack everything of all her things? You go to the toilet, you look on the wall, there's some blood splattered on the wall, and you wonder, what the hell? Then you think probably this is why they brought you to work here. Most probably the person who was working here before was not a very clean person, and that's why you have been brought to work here. Well, the days go by. Normally, the maids who work in Saudi say that the moment they arrive, even before they keep their luggage, they have already been sent to the kitchen to start cleaning, to start cooking without even instructions on how to do it. Without even the tour of the house they're gonna clean. They're gonna be cleaning the house that they have no idea how many rooms it has, but if they don't clean one room, they're gonna see dust. More dust than what is outside. And so this lady was expecting that the moment she'll come in, she'll start working, which was okay for her because she was so desperate. She'd stayed in Kenya for so many years without a job, and so this was not going to stop her come in and start working. But that did not happen. She did not come in and was told to start working. No. She was taken to her room upstairs, like on a third floor, and the room was locked from outside. First, her passport had been already taken from the airport. A passport is somebody's personal thing, and it should not be taken from you for one. Her phone was taken away from her. You can imagine, her mobile phone was taken away from her. Well, I think all of you have seen this story. Most of us have seen this story of a lady hanging from a balcony. Like she is being pushed from a balcony from the third floor in one of the Gulf countries. This is her story. The moment she arrived, she was taken to a room. She was not given instructions, no introduction, but the room was closed behind her. The room was stinking. She was hit by a very strong stench, like some rotting, some carcass generally. And the bed that she was gonna use was stained with a lot of blood. The floor had stains of blood. There were some shoes that belonged to somebody else. Well, she thought probably that's why they brought her, because the person who was working here before must have been very careless and very unhygienic, and that's why she was replaced. But then it struck her, why had she been locked from outside? Well, she thought probably that's their routine, and they will come and open for her because anyway she has to clean the house that she's staying in. But no. Next day, the door was opened for her. She thought now they're gonna show her her responsibilities, but no. Food was brought in and she was a bit shocked. First of all, these people are not speaking to her in English, they're only speaking in Arabic. So communication was a barrier. They threw food for her. She felt like she was in a quarantine, corona season. But at least that could have been in a cleaner place. Threw food for her into the room. Leftovers, basically, because there were some bones chewed already. And they locked the door again. She realized that there was no water being brought, so she asked next time they brought in the food, she asked for the water, but she was wondering, what is this? There was no communication, so she just spoke in English, when do I start working? Somehow, the lady who was bringing her food seemed to understand, but ignored and banged the door and locked it. And so those stressful 3 days made her mind race back to how many people had warned her against coming to this particular country in the Gulf, but she ignored them. She had to drink cistern water from the toilet because nobody was bringing her the water in the souring 50 degrees of the country. 50 degrees centigrade. You're not drinking water, you had to drink from the cistern in the toilet. Finally, the door opened again and she was let out, and she thought probably that was a test to see if she can stand hardship, and she managed. This was day 3 when they brought her out. They escorted her to a room, through a long corridor, and they opened the door. Inside was very dark, and she saw an old man praying, and she was told to go in. And she was like, what? I'm scared. She said, I'm scared. Why should I go into a dark room? I don't know what is going on in there. There are no lights, and you're telling me to go in? To do what? Then the lady gave her some bucket of water and told her, go in and throw this water inside. So she was like, no, I'm scared. The woman was so pissed off, she took the bucket of water and threw it on the lady. That is when the lady knew that drama has begun. She left her country. She'd been locked up in this room for 3 days, and now water is being poured on her. She's not been even given her job description. What? And she didn't even know where she is, because she'd never even stepped out before. So what happened? The woman poured water on her and closed the door in anger because the lady had refused to enter. The next day again, the same thing. She was led through the corridor, and the man she refused to enter. She refused to enter as usual, because as usual there was a man there praying in the darkness. So what was this all about? It's a mystery. A dark room with a man praying in the darkness, on the floor, and you're being told to go and pour the water inside. Why? Then one day they had to go out and leave their small daughter, and they left the daughter. They had to open for her because they needed somebody at least to stay with the daughter. So they opened the room for her to stay with the daughter. And as she was cleaning the house that she doesn't know the whereabouts, the small girl wanted some water that was on top of a cabinet and she couldn't reach. So she called. The lady went to the room of the daughter, and the cupboard was near the window, so she was going to get the water for the kid, and she saw some men in a balcony just across. a balcony across, not across, but opposite her daughter's bedroom. This happened to be the balcony of the old man who was praying, and he was still around. And she overheard the conversation. She was being asked by a foreigner, have you managed to kill her? Oh my God. And then she was like, she got interested in the conversation. The man said, it is very hard to get her into the room. We cannot kill her. I think we will need to force her into the room and kill her. Or else if she doesn't have to enter the room, we will need to use some other means. Then you know what happened? It struck her that most probably she's not here to work. That's why she's not been given anything to do. Most probably she's here as a sacrifice to these people. Some devil worshippers. She had been brought all the way from Kenya as a sacrifice. You can imagine. That's why she was not being given any work. And she's going to disappear without any trace because she didn't have any documents. Her documents had been kept away. When she heard this, she almost screamed and began running out of the room, not knowing where she's going because it's very confusion. The men in the balcony must have heard the commotion, and they came out of the room that had the balcony and they saw her running. The man who had come to see the old man grabbed her and asked her, where are you going? Why are you running? Where have you been? What are you doing in the kids' room? Who allowed you to go there? She began explaining. The kid wanted water, blah, 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 blah. And as she was talking, the man was pulling her towards the room that they had the balcony in. She was shivering. She was shivering. And this is the balcony that you will have seen on the video, that she is hanging. She had given them a very hard time to enter into their sacrificial room, that room where the man was praying. And the trick was for her to carry the bucket there thinking she's going to work, but she was actually supposed to enter there and be sacrificed by the man who was praying. So they pushed her, tried to push her over the balcony. There was a commotion because she was hanging on the balcony and screaming. And of course the neighbors saw. She fell with a thud on the ground. And the man thought his sacrifice had been done. He thought the sacrifice had been done. You know, in a foreign country, most people will not care, especially in such a foreign country in the Gulf. Nobody will care what happened, how did you fall, as long as you're not one of them. She lost consciousness for a few minutes and woke up in a very very painful, in a very strong pain. Is it excruciating pain? Whatever. She crawled to the neighbors, who called an ambulance, which rushed her to hospital. She managed to survive, but she was paralyzed. The legs. The police had to be informed. We don't know whether the people were arrested, but when the Kenyans in that country heard about the story, they went to the hospital and took her picture and posted it to the Kenyans. And that's how she managed to get back to Kenya, because she was being protected there. Because the guy could have as well gone to the hospital and finished her if it was not for the fellow Kenyans' protection. So if you like my content, like, share, and subscribe. Ciao.